I think I'll need.
Yes, Mataji, let's try because it's just the two of us. So
Okay, because
please.
then if I get stuck, you can help me out.
Sure, Mataji, sure.
And I want to learn how to recite Mangalacharan and stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. I like you're so enthusiastic, so I'm very grateful.
I think it's a nice feeling when you recite Sanskrit slokas, isn't it? It makes you feel good. So thank you.
Yes, Mataji, that's true.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshur-unmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Thapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande aham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vintam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitashva He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinbandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji, for the wonderful Mangalacharan recital.
Thank you.
It was really, really good. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you,
for
Mataji.
reciting. Okay, Mataji, did you attend the class yesterday? Sorry? Did you attend the class?
The class. Yeah, it was very nice. Thank you.
Okay. Yesterday was part Prabhuji, but I wasn't around, so I was just checking.
No, okay. It went really well. It was very interesting. Thank you. Very nice.
Okay, because we didn't record it. He probably forgot to record it, so I had I didn't have any communication. Okay. So let's start. At least we can start reading. So I will read the Pranam mantra and then we can continue. Mataji, you have the Srimad-Bhagavatam with you?
Yes, I have. It.
Okay. So when we reach text, today we are going to be doing text 16. So I'll give you the choice if you wanted to read the Sanskrit or the translation or the purport. So we can.
Yeah, I will read the translation.
Okay. So let us start. Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chaivam Narotanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirate Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading Srimad-Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 1, Chapter 5, and the text for today is text 16. So I'll read the Sanskrit and then we can move forward. Vikasano shrayati veditam vibho ananta parashya nivriti sukham pravartamanasya guner atmanas tato bhavandarshaya chetisha vibho. Hare Krishna Mataji, would you like to read the word to word?
Okay.
Vikashana, very expert.
Vikasana, very expert. Asya, of him. Arhati, deserves. Veditam, to understand. Vibho, of the Lord. Ananta Parasya, of the unlimited. Nivrita, retired from. Sukham, material happiness. Pravartamanasya, those who are attached to. Guna, by the material qualities. Atmana, devoid of knowledge in spiritual value. Tata, therefore. Bhavan, your goodness. Dharsaya, show the ways. Sestitam, activities. Vibho, of the Lord.
Thank you,
Shall I
Mataji.
do the translation?
Yes, Mataji, kindly continue.
Okay, thank you. Translation by His Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme Personality Lord is the Supreme Lord is unlimited. Only a very expert personality retired from the activities of material happiness deserves to understand this knowledge of spiritual values. Therefore, those who are not so well situated due to material attachment should be shown the ways of transcendental realization by your goodness through descriptions of the transcendental activities of the Supreme Lord. Purport. A theological science is a difficult subject, especially when it deals with the transcendental nature of God. It is not a subject matter to be understood by persons who are too much attached to material activities. Only the very expert who have almost retired from materialistic activities by culture of spiritual knowledge can be admitted to the study of this great science. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that out of many hundreds and thousands of men, only one person deserves to enter into transcendental realization. And out of many thousands of such transcendentally realized persons, only a few can understand the theological science specifically dealing with God as a person. Sri Vyasadeva is therefore advised by Narada to describe the science of God directly by relating his transcendental activities. Vyasadeva is himself a personality expert in this science, and he is unattached to material enjoyment. Therefore, he is the right person to describe it. And Shukdeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, is the right person to receive it. Srimad-Bhagavatam is the topmost theological science, and therefore it can react on the layman as medicinal doses. Because it contains the transcendental activities of the Lord, there is no difference between the Lord and the literature. The literature is the factual literary incarnation of the Lord. So the layman can hear the narration of the activities of the Lord. Thereby they are able to associate with the Lord and thus gradually become purified from material diseases. The expert devotees also can discover novel ways and means to convert the non-devotees in terms of particular time and circumstance. Devotional service is dynamic activity, and the expert devotees can find out competent means to inject it into the dull brains of the materialistic population. Such transcendental activities of the devotees for the service of the Lord can bring a new order of life to the foolish society of materialistic men. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his subsequent followers exhibited expert dexterity in this connection. By following the same method, one can bring the materialistic men of this age of quarrel into order for peaceful life and transcendental realization.
Thank you very much, Mataji. That was excellent.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Hare Krishna, Radhika, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept our humble obeisances from devotees who have joined the group and are about to join, Mataji. Mataji, we are reading the Srimad-Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 1, Chapter 5, and the text for today, Mataji, is text 16. Mataji, we have read the text, the translation and purport, and before that we did the Manglacharan. So now we are handing over to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srinivata Swagata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridayantasto hi Apatrani Vidunoti Suvritsadam Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Miritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Kauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashaita Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All right, so we can get started with our today's class. Thank you, dear devotees. First of all, I pay my humble obeisances to all of you on the call so that I may be able to speak the relevant words of Srila Prabhupada. Very, very nice segue. I think we are into the 16th verse of 5th chapter of the first canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam. So what I was going to do was probably revise 13, 14, 15, and then go to 16 so that we are able to see the continuity. And then obviously from 70 to 90, the process of bhakti is being credited. So bhakti is being talked about. And then Narada will instruct Vyasadeva from 20 to 22. After that, Narada Muni will talk about his previous life. So this section, we understand 12 to 16, bhakti is the only valuable asset. Nothing else is valuable. So that is what is the point we are trying to drive at. Bhakti is very important and bhakti is the only valuable asset, not karma, not jnana. So which is what is being reinforced in these verses 12 to 16. So let's get into the verse, understand 13, 14, and 15, and then go to 16th verse, which is today's verse. All right. So in the 13th verse, if you look at it, Vyasadeva is talking about the qualification as a transcendental. Vyasadev's qualification as a transcendental author is being talked about. What are his qualifications? Narada is saying he is so fortunate. He is Mahabhaga with a perfect vision. That means Amogadrik. And then he has what? Spotless fame. Sushi Shravaha. Truthfulness. Satyarato. And then he keeps up his firm vows. Drida Vrataha. Thus you can think of the Lord's pastime in trance for the liberation of everyone. Akila Bhanda Muktaye. So now Narada, he wants Vyasadeva to go into the trance and then understand Lord's pastime in trance and be able to project it to the people all over. This is what he wants. And anybody cannot become an author, isn't it? You need to have qualification. So Narada Muni is defining Vyasadev's qualification just for us to help understand, he's not an ordinary person. He's a transcendental person. And this is what, as listeners of Bhagavatam, we must understand what is the potency. Because what? he is actually into Samadhi. In the Samadhi, he is able to see the Lord's pastime and directly perceive those pastimes and give it to us. So can you imagine the potency of it? That's why he's calling Vyasadeva, oh, you are Mahabhaga with a perfect vision, not this materialistic vision. No, you are having this perfect vision and you are having spotless fame. Nobody can even spot any kind of discrepancy in your fame. You are truthful and then you're firm with your vows. This is the qualification. So now we are going to understand what are these terms mean and how we can maybe further able to contemplate and understand about it is something we will go through now. He says, without bhakti, whatever one does is meaningless. If a person, Srila Prabhupada's commentary is saying all these, right? If a person does not have bhakti, so bhakti means it's like prana. Prana is the life force. In the end, all these beautiful things in this world are accomplished because of the Lord, isn't it? Thanks to him, we have to actually shower our love and devotion to him because everything in this world is because of him. We are able to perceive and enjoy, or perceive and not enjoy. Because Krishna has to be used in Krishna's service whatsoever. That is real enjoyment. Bhakti, by very nature, corresponds to what? Corresponds to our nature of consciousness. This consciousness has a nature of love and devotion. And therefore, if our activity is not saturated with bhakti in one form or the other, what is that activity going to result in? It is not going to bring good results for us. That activity is meaningless because whatever other activity which you do where you don't have bhakti or devotion to the Lord, what does that activity lead to? That activity actually binds you to samsara. It actually gets you to this repetitive cycle of birth and death. So what's the point of performing that activity, isn't it? So we saw in Bhagavad Gita, karma, what is karma, what is vikarma, what is akarma, isn't it? And we have to always strive to do activities in the akarma. What is akarma? When we do activities for the pleasure of the Lord, that activity becomes akarma. That means no karma. We are not accruing any reaction for it. At the end of the day, our bank account, our our account as such must not have any positive or negative. What does positive mean? Positive means we are having more piety into our account. That means we have to be born again to get that piety taken care of. Negative means so many sins that we have committed. In order to actually get the reaction for that also, we need to come back. We want a zero count, right? So Narada Muni utters these very harsh verses. He crosses out everything else. He says, no, whatever you have whatever you have done in the past doesn't have bhakti, component of bhakti in it. You didn't repeat it enough. That is not, it's not fulfilling the purpose. Even if you do karma in a most selfless way, even if it is pious, if it doesn't glorify the Lord, then that is not, that is nonsense. That's all. Even if it is pious, even if it is selfless, if it has no desire to sincerely glorify the Lord, then it's a waste. That's the point that Srila Prabhupada is trying to arrive at the conclusion of this verse. Therefore, Narada Muni is saying, you must actually try to work on something that actually liberates everyone. Right? Narada Muni explains in the words. That is why he brings about the qualities of a person. Because you will be able to see the pastimes of the Lord. He says, Mahabhaga, to see the pastimes of the Lord, is it a joke? No way. Such a person is so fortunate. Luck means what? Oh, winning a lottery and getting $10 million, is that luck? No, we are talking about the special stroke of luck. A person, when he gets to meet the pure devotee of the Lord, when we come across such a pure devotee of the Lord, that is luck and that is mercy for us. Srila Prabhupada, his books, that is luck for us. This is the qualification. Lucky means we get mercy. Good fortune is a causeless mercy of Krishna that is showered upon me. Srila Prabhupada's books is a source of, it is just not comparable. 10 million, 20 million, we cannot equate it to any money. And we need to have this feeling of gratitude to Srila Prabhupada. Because what are we learning from him? What are his teachings? How we are trying to imbibe the mood of Srila Prabhupada by reading his books. and how much indebted we need to feel to Srila Prabhupada for giving us this transcendental knowledge, right? So this is what luck means. So here, this person, Vyasadeva, he's able to see the pastimes of the Lord. So we definitely have to call him Mahabhaga, because he is such a fortunate person. And then he says, what? Not only you are lucky, you have Amoghadrik vision. Your vision is impeccable. Our vision, when we wear, our vision means defective vision, isn't it? Mohasha, moha karmano, mohanyana vichetasaha. Krishna uses the word moha in Bhagavad Gita. He says, if one fails, if one does not believe in the personal form of the Lord, then that means he has a flaw. He definitely has a flaw. He's not able to understand and does not believe in the personal form of the Lord. That means there is definitely a problem. That means he has a flaw. Amoghadrik means this person has this eyesight which is perfect. Right? These and then he says Satyavrato. And the qualities of Vyasadeva, he speaks the truth. Your fame is spread everywhere. You're attached to speaking the truth. You don't speak anything else that actually deviates from the truth. No, you're not such a kind of person. So we'll just talk about truthfulness for a little bit here. It is said that a person who actually follows the vow of truthfulness, he acquires a special power, it seems. If a person has not lied in his life, then all the words of this person becomes true. He becomes Satyavrata. Satyavrata literally means whatever he says, it becomes true. So what happens in this material world? We are constantly lying. We lie from the childhood, from the very first words, say some kind of lie, and therefore our words don't have any power. This is after see, first time when we say a lie, we will feel, yeah, should I say a lie? No lie, what, sometimes consciousness tricks now. So that will be the first time. Once you are getting used to speaking the lie, then you will continue speaking the lie. You become sensitive to it. You actually become desensitive to it, right? Because once we start habituating, and once we start saying the lie, then it becomes our habit. First time we may ask ourselves, is it okay? Is it not okay? And once when we say okay, that's all. It continues and it continues. So we have to be very careful. The first time when we do something wrong, we really have to think through, is it worth it? Is it anukul for bhakti? Of course, we always operate on the platform of anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam. Is it favorable for bhakti? If it is favorable, I will do anything. If it is not favorable, I will not do anything. Yudhishthira, he was asked to say a lie. He was so attached to this concept of not lying. And he said to Krishna, no, I'm not going to lie. But when Krishna says you have to lie, we just do it as a devotee. That's the point. We are not attached to not saying a lie. But when situations are anukul for Krishna consciousness, a devotee does so. We just have to work on that principle. That's the point. Okay. But here we see Vyasadeva. The Vyasadeva is Satyavrata. So the sages, they all in the past had this ability of truthfulness. When they take the vow of truthfulness, whatever they say, that becomes the truth. Srila Prabhupada, he mentions in the commentary, he says Srila Vyasadeva was Satyavrata, a person attached to truth. Then all he wrote about in the Srimad-Bhagavatam is now being fulfilled. There are many predictions in Srimad-Bhagavatam. In one particular predictions, the bhakti will be spread throughout the world. This is one of the predictions. And that prediction came true. How? By the advent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam, Sangha Parshanga Parshadam. So like that. So in the age of Kali, who came? Krishna Varnam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in what complexion? He came in the golden complexion. So intelligent people definitely understand and worship him in the Sankirtan movement. So again, he's Chenna avatar. He's not known to everybody else. So Gaudiya Sampradaya, people know about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but when it comes to other Sampradayas, he is a hidden avatar. And there are many other predictions in Srimad-Bhagavatam. So he is Dhritavrata, means one who makes, there are other predictions in Srimad-Bhagavatam also, and Vyasadeva has this quality of Satyarata. But that is why all the predictions of Srimad-Bhagavatam are coming true. We need to understand that. Okay, when there is a prediction that is given in Srimad-Bhagavatam, say about Kalki Avatar, that Kalki Avatar will come in the future. It will come true. Because why? He is Satyavrata. If we don't understand why, what is the reason, then we'll not be able to understand the glory of Srimad-Bhagavatam. This is the glory. Where are we getting this from? We are actually, Srila Vyasadeva is in Samadhi. He is meditating on the Lord. He is directly seeing the pastimes of the Lord and he is giving to us. So this is non-different from Krishna. Now we understand. Yes, it is non-different from Krishna. Also because he is Satyavrata, there are some predictions in the future that are given in Srimad-Bhagavatam. Yes, that is going to happen. Why? Because Srila Vyasadeva is Satyavrata. We need to tie all these together. Why, what, how, all these questions can be asked. So we arrive at a common conclusion and then we understand the essence. This is the point. So these qualities are very important. They're just not qualities. No, it's tick, 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 tick. No, we need to understand what these qualities exactly mean. That is why our acharyas are there to help us understand, yes, this is the significance of this quality. This is the significance of that quality. And then we correlate it and see, now it makes sense. So now we see Dhritavrata. That means he cannot be turned away from the path of vow. So the Lord, he performs his pastimes and somebody is seeing him in Samadhi. And when you describe him, he is Akila Bandha Muktaye. After reading the scripture of Srimad-Bhagavatam, what will happen to those people? Because this book is written in Samadhi Bhasha. Samadhi Bhasha means you are able to meditate on the pastimes of the Lord in Samadhi. What is the Samadhi? We need to understand, isn't it? Vyasadeva was in Samadhi. What is Samadhi now? Samadhi is an elevated state where you are able to continuously meditate on one object of meditation, who's Lord Krishna. And then when you meditate on that one object of meditation for long periods of time, we are we are chanting. For how long can we chant continuously? And that too without distraction. Is it possible? Then you can imagine how the feeling of Samadhi would be. You'll be calm, peaceful, satisfied, and you will be able to view the pastimes of the Lord in that state for long periods of time. Okay, so this is the state of Samadhi. And when such a person, when Vyasadeva, who has this capability of these qualities, when such a person is able to deliver this message of Srimad-Bhagavatam to us, when we start to read that Srimad-Bhagavatam, what should happen? If a person writes it in Samadhi Bhasha, then the effect of Samadhi Bhasha should happen to the listener as well. So Parikshit Maharaj, how attentively, with rapt attention, he was listening to Srimad-Bhagavatam. The mood of a listener should be that he has to faint in every episode of Srimad-Bhagavatam. Every episode of Srimad-Bhagavatam. That is the qualification of a listener. Because this is written in Samadhi Bhasha, but it doesn't happen to us because our heart has so much ignorance. That is why when you look at Bahava Bhaktas and Prema Bhaktas, they are able to really Srimad-Bhagavatam so nicely. 100 times, 200, 1 million times they listen, they get new realizations from it. This is the reason. Because they understand that Samadhi language. They are talking together, the listener and the speaker, if both of them are in tune, understand the Samadhi Bhasha, then everything will be revealed to us. Krishna, because it's none other than Lord Krishna himself. This is the glory of Srimad-Bhagavatam, dear devotees. We need to understand that. That's why I'm stating it. It's not no ordinary literature. The conclusions of Srimad-Bhagavatam are the essence of our Sampradaya. And we need to actually worship Srimad-Bhagavatam. I'm also going to state a story about a person who actually worshipped Srimad-Bhagavatam and what happened to him at the end. So we will definitely get into the story after a while. So Narada Muni is talking about the qualities. So now one thing I want to say, one thing I want to stress here is that Say, for example, as I told you, if somebody is committing a sinful deed, then they feel a taste of it. You don't immediately feel the taste. Immediately, when you do a sin, it's actually disgusting. The human brain, what happens, it wants to taste that disgusting thing the first time. It doesn't like it. Say, for example, somebody tries to smoke. Smoking actually is very, very distasteful and disgusting the first time. But after a few days, what happens? This person starts to do several packs of smoking. I mean, he tries to smoke several packets of cigarette. And he also feels, I cannot live without it anyway. It's kind of, he's become so dependent on it. So the nature of the sin is to bind a person. This is what happens. The people, they become bound to it by committing one sin, even though it is disgusting the first time. When they start repeating it, they become slave to that sin. So Vyasadeva is saying, you have to actually free such kind of people who are become slaves to that kind of sin. You have to give freedom to them. They are being tied by the knots of sin. And now you have to, Vyasadeva, it is your duty to liberate these people who have been stuck and been dependent on this nature of sin. Definitely, it is your duty, Vyasadeva. You have to do it. So what is inner freedom? Inner freedom is the freedom from this slavery that we are talking about. The freedom from the nature of ours. It lies in the fact that we are attached to the sin. And here Narada Muni tells him, see, you can see the pastimes of Lord. And when a person reads the Leelas of Krishna, when the person actually thinks about the Leelas, when he meditates on these Leelas, remembers the Leelas, what will happen? He will be freed from the chains of false ego. He will completely be freed. What is tying us to this world? That is the false ego that is tying us to this world. So we need to be liberated from that false ego, isn't it? A platform of false ego. It can happen only when we start hearing Krishna Katha, only when we start remembering Krishna Katha, only when we start meditating on the Leelas of Krishna, isn't it? So that is when we'll be freed. So the nature of the Lord is that he liberates people. Why how does the Lord have the capability to liberate people? How is it possible? Why not some other stories from different novels that can't liberate you? Why is Srimad-Bhagavatam able to liberate a person and not any other literature? Srimad-Bhagavatam glorifies Krishna. Krishna is free. He's a free person. He's not affected by false ego. He's not affected by the modes. Only a person who is free can actually liberate a person, isn't it? If the person is not free to start off, how will he be able to liberate the person? No, it is not possible logically. Even if you think about it from a logical perspective, it's not possible. So whom we should surrender to? We should surrender to Krishna, because he is the one who will be able to free you from the shackle of birth and death. Okay, now we have to understand, what does a real miracle do? So real miracle means something that applies our minds. And we need to have miracle, right? And miracle comes when we chant the holy names of the Lord. What happens? This holy name is so potent. When we chant the holy names of the Lord in an offenseless manner, then we'll be able to see the form of the Lord. Then we'll be able to see the Leelas of the Lord. Not only Leelas, we'll be able to understand the Gunas, the qualities of the Lord. These three things will automatically happen to a person who chants the glories of the holy names of the Lord in an offenseless fashion. Very important, dear devotees. We have such a, again, Srimad-Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not different from Krishna. And when we have this mood and chant without any offenses, that's the problem, isn't it? Without any offenses. We always read the 10 offenses before we chant the holy names of the Lord. But then to avoid the offenses is a difficult process, and we need to keep working on it, so that one day when we chant offenselessly, that time we will be able to get these three realizations slowly, one after the other, in the different stages. That is how it creates a miracle. The miracle happens when we chant the holy names of the Lord. This is real miracle that we should meditate upon. in this chapter, in the next chapter, and in the 7th chapter, it will be said that Srimad-Bhagavatam is a cure for all diseases of the conditioned living entities. At the very beginning of Srimad-Bhagavatam, in the 2nd chapter of Srimad-Bhagavatam, what did we learn? Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevya. So if a person actually serves Bhagavatam daily, the person reads at least one verse of Bhagavatam, which you're all doing, and then think about it, practically everything about that verse, and you then contemplate about it. We spoke about this concept of contemplation, right? Nididhyasanam, mananam and nididhyasanam. Mananam and nididhyasanam. Mananam, you contemplate on it, and then nididhyasanam, you start applying it in your life. And what happens as a result of this? Everything that is such a, all the anattas in the heart, slowly what happens to them? They start to go away. Those that poison your heart is now going to go away. When you do what? Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. So definitely we are doing that, and you guys are all following that vow of always doing Srimad Bhagavatam, no matter what. I know Ratha Yatra is happening, so many things are going on, but still you would like to have the continuity on Bhagavatam, which is what Krishna is looking for. And when he sees this endeavor that you put in, that's all. He sees, oh yeah, how much endeavor this devotee puts to get this task accomplished, get this service completed, in spite of so many difficulties he's going through. There could be so many things in this material world, isn't it? Your job responsibilities, your parental responsibilities, your other responsibilities in your life that you need to take care of. In spite of that, this girl is trying to serve me, give me some attention. So I'm going to make her come closer to my lotus feet. Krishna sees our endeavor. That's all. Are we endeavor? It's not a matter of how much I endeavor versus how much that person endeavors. We can definitely get inspiration, but our comparison should be only with ourselves, not with anybody else, dear devotees. This is the principle that we need to follow so that we have a calm and steady and peaceful practice of Krishna consciousness. When we start comparing ourselves with other devotees, then that's when the problem starts. Never do that mistake. Please never do the mistake. Comparison should be just between before 6 months, what did I do? And after 6 months now, what am I doing? So the comparison has to be for yourself, okay? Not with other devotees. Please make this point, take this point into your heart. Bhagavatam, as I told you, Samadhi Bhasha. And Samadhi Bhasha literally means the language of Samadhi. And in the 7th chapter, of Srimad Bhagavatam, this amazing scene will be described. How Vyasadeva, after Narada left, fell into trance. And how in trance he was able to see the pastimes of the Lord, and how he saw God, how he saw Maya. Maya is something that is misleading all these living entities. He saw how living beings is actually suffering because of this Maya. And in reality, how the suffering is, such it is the Maya is troubling the living entity so much, and something it is external to that living entity, and he is being captured by this Maya. So he's able to see all that, how living entities are suffering, how Maya is misleading, and these guys are going with the flow. When somebody is able to see and appreciate, yes, I have to give them this literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, which actually is the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, and that is how they can be freed from this illusion of Maya. So Samadhi, in Samadhi is seeing all this. So now we need to understand Srimad Bhagavatam is a door to spiritual world. Okay, if one reads it every day, then what happens? Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu. All the anarthas in our heart, slowly they will go away, and one will liberate from what? From the modes of material nature. Because why we act in a particular way? Why are we acting? Yes, if somebody is going to dishonor me, then I'm going to get angry at them. No matter what, that is my conditioned reflex. I'm going to get angry at them, shout at them. I'm going to I'm going to actually blaspheme them in all possible ways. Because why? They dishonored me. This is a conditioned reflex that comes. But a devotee, he knows honor, dishonor is not a problem. He stays equipoised in all situations. Why? How is he able to be equipoised? Because he understands he's the servant of the servant of the servant. He is the soul, he's not a body. When we identify ourselves with the bodily designations matter to us. I have only one designation. If I care about that designation, then nothing else matters. I am the servant of the Lord. Whatever is anukul for bhakti, I do. I am not going to waste my time reacting to this person who has no idea of what he's talking. He's completely identifying himself with some experience and he's talking, and I'm not going to I'm not going to react to such a kind of person. It's definitely a waste of my time, and I just have to focus on Lord Krishna, do service for Lord Krishna and devotees. Be calm in that situation. That person will be amazed. He'll say, oh, how are you able to stay calm even in such a situation? Please teach me. Like that, he will come to you and ask you for recommendations. This is the quality of a devotee. The qualities of the Lord come to a devotee. When you start when you start going closer to Krishna, Krishna will say, yes, you are putting the endeavor. I'll make you come closer. I'll make you come closer. So when you get closer, you get the qualities of the Lord as well. Isn't it? This is the understanding. So it's very important for us to get closer and closer to Krishna. That eagerness must be there. How will that eagerness come? Only when you associate with people who have such a quality, you will get that eagerness. So it is always important for us to associate with people who have that eagerness to go to Krishna, who have the eagerness to perform services, who have the eagerness to glorify our scriptures, glorify our acharyas. Only when we are in association with such kind of devotees, we will get that mood. Otherwise, it's difficult. To perform alone is definitely difficult. That's why when you look at Srimad-Bhagavatam over and over, if you look at the prayers of anybody for that matter, Prahlad Maharaj, anybody, they just ask only one thing, association of devotees. Why? It doesn't matter. In a neophyte stage, we want, as well when you go to Prema also, you want association of devotees. This is very important to get that mood fired up. So now I want to give this beautiful story as an example for you to understand the glory of Srimad-Bhagavatam. We need to appreciate it as much as possible, because this book is no ordinary book. And this particular story is told by Bhaktivinoda Goswami Maharaj in one of his lectures. So he happened to quote this as a beautiful story to help us understand what the Srimad-Bhagavatam should mean for all of us and what Srimad-Bhagavatam can yield. So when it comes from great devotees and pure devotees of the Lord, definitely we need to actually take it to our heart. Okay. So there was this saint in Vrindavan. He actually died at the age of 110, and he calmly practiced bhajan in Vrindavan. His name was Avatadhas Babaji. And he had a deity, special deity, and he worshipped Srimad-Bhagavatam. That is his deity. Srimad-Bhagavatam was God for him. He dressed him in beautiful clothes. He wrapped him in silk cloth, put him in the altar. He offered food to him. He did puja to him every day, several times a day. This is the main service of Bhagavatam. So how he actually worshipped Srimad-Bhagavatam is something that we can all imbibe his mood. Definitely, it is the authoritative scripture, and he used to do puja to Srimad-Bhagavatam. So he used to offer incense because this incense is so powerful, right? And then Srimad-Bhagavatam obviously is the sound incarnation of the Lord, and so that's why he with our eyes, we treat everything non-different. I mean, we should treat everything non-different. That is Jnana Chakshu. When we have the knowledge, then holy name is non-different from Lord. This is not theoretical. This should be practical. And again, when we look at Srimad-Bhagavatam, this is not different from Lord. This is Lord. Not only theoretical, practical. So this Avatadhas Babaji, it was his sadhana to worship Srimad-Bhagavatam. He served Srimad-Bhagavatam and read it, remembered it, listened to it, and also thought about it. What did he do? He would open Srimad-Bhagavatam. There are 12 cantos in Srimad-Bhagavatam. Then he will start reciting all the verses of Srimad-Bhagavatam. He knew all the verses of Srimad-Bhagavatam by heart. This is point number one. And he would know when this particular prayers would start, in what page it will end. He didn't even have to look at the pages. He knew where the pages began and where it would end. When he got to the end, he would turn the pages and he would read on to the next segment. He was reading this book over and over again and again. Why? Because of this love for Srimad-Bhagavatam. This was so deep. He felt so deeply attached to the Srimad-Bhagavatam, and the vibrations of the sound emanating from Srimad-Bhagavatam was something that was indescribable. He found himself in the spiritual world by reciting these verses. His faith in Srimad-Bhagavatam was unshakable, Maharaj said. Unshakable. Nobody could actually do anything to actually cut his faith or something like that. No, nothing is possible. He was so unshakable when it came to faith of Srimad-Bhagavatam. So this was his mood. And Srimad-Bhagavatam describes the eternal reality. This is our opportunity to get in touch with the eternal reality, right? To see the eternal reality. And Avatar Das Babaji Maharaj, when he read Srimad-Bhagavatam, he saw everything in the spiritual world. He was in the spiritual world. And a curious incident happened to him one day, which Maharaj quoted, which was actually happening to him. One day he was eating prasadam, and when he ate, he usually was very alone, because obviously the tradition in India was such that whenever sages eat, holy person eats, he eats at a distance from others, and everybody else, all his disciples, they lived there. They stood somewhere at a obviously some distance away from him. And you would cater to his needs. Whatever his needs are, they will cater to him, but then they would stand at a very distant place. At that moment, what happened was a newcomer who heard, okay, there is a great saint in Vrindavan who's living here, and somehow he wanted to meet this great saint, and therefore he just broke the barrier of the disciples who were standing there, and he interfered with the Babaji Maharaj. When he was eating, he actually distracted him, and he sat down with him and asked Babaji Maharaj, can you give me some food from your plate? Because he knew that obviously we have to eat from the plate of Mahabhagavat. That is potent. He is a neophyte devotee, and he just suddenly rushed through and came directly to Maharaj, and Maharaj was eating at that time, as you all know, and his disciples were all standing at a distance trying to cater him. But this guy, he just completely broke all the etiquette and came to him and started asking him, can I have a morsel of food from your plate? So this was the scenario. And then, so obviously, I mean, you can understand, right? Maharaj could not hear, Babaji Maharaj could not hear what he wanted, and he was actually eating. And it turned out later that so Maharaj was not going to give him, because he was obviously absorbed. And what he did was he started to take the food himself from his plate. So we all know Mahaprasad can be stolen as well, and sinful reactions don't incur to a person who's actually stealing the Mahaprasad. So this guy, he grabbed a handful of prasadam from his plate. At that moment, actually, Babaji Maharaj woke up and grabbed his hand, but it was too late. He grabbed it and he quickly shifted it to his other hand and threw it to himself. So the moment when this person had the prasadam that he had in his hand, this neophyte devotee, what happened to him? He fainted. And then he laid an unconscious state for many hours. Many hours he just remained in that unconscious state. And then he said, okay, that's what he needs. Probably Maharaj said, okay, let him be like that. Until evening, he lay down, and in the evening, Babaji Maharaj used to recite Srimad-Bhagavatam. He told Srimad-Bhagavatam, he asked the devotees, let's wake him up again. They gathered around him and they began to sing Kirtan. And then he opened his eyes. He began to look at everyone in great surprise, and he asked them, where am I? Where am I? It took him some time to actually come back to his senses and remember everything that had happened. And then the disciples took him aside and asked him, what happened to you? You tasted this prasadam, and what happened? Tell us, please. He said, I ended up in the spiritual world. You will not believe. This is what happened to him. What did you see in the spiritual world? They asked. I saw Krishna. I saw his friends, and all the cowherd boys. They were all engaged in Bhojan Leela, that is eating. They were all eating lunch. They were all eating prasad. And then he also saw Babaji Maharaj sitting in the center. What are they doing? Babaji Maharaj took food from their plate, from his plate, and actually put it into Krishna's mouth. This is what I saw. And Krishna took it from his plate and put it into his mouth. So Babaji Maharaj used to feed Krishna, and Krishna used to feed Babaji Maharaj. This is what I saw. I've been there only for one moment, but many hours have passed here. One moment only I saw this, but many hours have passed here. And then he realized who Babaji Maharaj was. This is the state of person. Then he asked for forgiveness and any kind of insult that he had probably given to him. And this is Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, how this person is so attached to Bhagavatam, and because of which he is able to realize Lord, factually realize Lord. How Krishna, this person who eats the prasadam, happened to see Babaji Maharaj, happened to feed Krishna, and Krishna feeding to him. Such loving reciprocation happened. Why? Because of Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. When we have this faith, right? Faith is like a mother, as I told you. And all we need in Krishna consciousness to survive is the component of faith. If the faith becomes unshakable, then we have perfected our lives. That's all. It's very difficult though, because our material mind is polluted, and it is definitely having so many things from previous past births, because of which we have to get through our conditioning, and that is where we are having difficulty and doubts and things that are told in the scripture. Should I believe or not? We have to absolutely believe. Go with the, even if you don't understand it now, you will understand it later. Follow what the scripture says. That is the best way. If you're not understanding, no problem. Just follow what Krishna says, and in due course of time, Krishna will reveal it to you. Don't wait for that time. Oh, I need to realize it before I act. And no, just even if you follow, if you have that faith, and if you follow what the scripture says, even if you don't understand, that can also lead to you to auspiciousness. So this is the beautiful story I wanted to share with you, because how Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya can actually get a person to the spiritual world. Even if you live in this material world, you can be in the spiritual world, right? This is Siddha Deha. Sadhana Deha is there and Siddha Deha is there. In Siddha Deha, they will go to spiritual world, and then they will come back and participate in the material, participate in the activities this material world has to offer as well. This is what is the state of very, very advanced devotees, so as to speak. So that is verse number 13. And then I had so much to talk about verse number 13, I'm sorry. But moving on, verse number 14, what was said, descriptions disconnected from the Lord are insubstantial. Whatever is described with a vision that is separate from the Lord, Pratak Drisha, simply reacts with different forms and names to agitate the mind like a boat attacked by wind. So it's this is also a very, very beautiful verse, which conveys the point that Vyasadeva has described various paths to us, specifically karma, jnana, yoga, and bhakti. What happens is people become confused because of it, because bhakti is one other component, again like karma, jnana, or any other yoga for that matter. It is not repeated enough, which was what is the point that Narada Muni was saying to Vyasadeva when he was asking him what is the reason for the dissatisfaction. So Narada pointed out his defect and emphasized that importance of describing everything in relation to Lord alone is important. Otherwise, you are having a vision that is separate from Lord, and that's not going to lead you anywhere. And hence, this vision of having the vision of the Lord is very important. What is the vision of the Lord? If you are disconnected, then that is insubstantial. If your vision has to be in line with the Lord. This is what we want. And then obviously the 15th verse talked about the point that there is we all have this enjoying tendency, right? But by your instructions, if you're going to say something, then they will definitely accept that instructions. And so you have encouraged the natural enjoying tendency of people by quoting a lot of scripture. So if you have this enjoyment tendency, do this. So you have actually sort of encouraged, and thus they will accept such activities in the name of religion and hardly care for prohibitions. This is verily condemned. Juhupsitam. This is the 15th verse. And then today's verse, if you look at it, I wanted to actually illustrate you 3 types of bhakti. Very, very important. These terms are very, very important. Please make a note of it, dear devotees. Kevala Bhakti. What is Kevala Bhakti? Kevala Bhakti is practiced by the people, practiced by persons who are Nishkama, who are Ananya Bhakti, who have Ananya Bhakti or Shuddha Bhakti or Nirguna Bhakti. This is what a person who's Kevala Bhakti means, pure Bhakti. As a result, what you're going to get, if you have pure Bhakti, what is the end component that you will get? You will get Prema. This is one kind of Bhakti. This is pure Bhakti, unadulterated. And the Jnana Karmadi Anavratam. There is no Jnana or no Karma mixed with this Bhakti. That is pure Bhakti or Kevala Bhakti. The next type of Bhakti is Pradhani Bhakti. What is Pradhani Bhakti? Mixed Bhakti. That is, Bhakti is the predominating factor. In Bhakti, you will have Karma or Jnana or Yoga mixed. And that could be Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Yoga Mishra Bhakti. And what is the high predominating factor there? Bhakti. Karma is less than Bhakti. Jnana is less than Bhakti. Yoga is less than Bhakti. And this is practiced by people who probably want some liberation, or they want to get association of. So the problem is this Pradhanya Bhuta Bhakti people, they don't have pure Bhakti. They have mixed Bhakti, isn't it? But even though mixed Bhakti, the Bhakti component is high. That is something we need to appreciate. So these people can go get Shantaras. If they come in touch with the devotees, then they will actually achieve Prema, but in reverential mood. Not in the Madhurya Bhav we are talking about, where they'll get Prema in reverential mood. Okay, this is the Pradhanya Bhakti. So first is Kevala Bhakti or Ananya Bhakti or Shuddha Bhakti, which is pure Bhakti, which is unadulterated by Jnana and Karma. And where does it lead to? It leads to Prema. The second is Pradhanya Bhakti, where Bhakti is the predominating thing. And then we have mixture of Karma, Jnana or Yoga. The Yoga, Karma or Jnana is less than Bhakti. As a result of it, the devotee who practices this Bhakti can get liberation or he can get Shantaras. Okay, but in this case, if this Pradhanya Bhakta is coming in association with the pure devotee, then he can attain a state up to Prema, but he cannot go attain the Madhurya Bhava, but instead he can go up to Aishwarya Bhava. I mean, it is not Madhurya Bhava, but it is in the mood of awe and reverence. The Prema can be got, but it's in the mood of awe and reverence. Then we have Guna Bhava Bhakti. That is, this is also mixed Bhakti, which means in the previous case, Pradhanya Bhakti was a predominating factor. But in this case, Karma, Jnana or Yoga, that is predominating and Bhakti is secondary. This is why it is Guna Bhava Bhakti. Okay, so again, what is the result of this kind of a Bhakti? This produces liberation. And what is this Bhakti called? Bhakti Mishra Karma, Bhakti Mishra Jnana or Bhakti Mishra Yoga. And here the component, what is predominant? The Yoga or Jnana or Karma is predominant and Bhakti is secondary. As a result, the person gets liberation. So in our scriptures, only Kevala Bhakti and Pradhanya Bhuta Bhakti is accepted, not Guna Bhava Bhakti. Because again, the Bhakti component is less. But in all these cases, the Karma, Jnana or Yoga can be potent. It cannot be potent without Bhakti. That's the point. Without Bhakti, none of these processes will work. If you take pure Karma, pure Jnana, pure Yoga, nothing, it will not work. If you don't have the component of Bhakti, then it will not work, which is the essence of this verse that we talked about in today's class. Okay, so with this, we can conclude today's session, the 3 types of Bhakti, which actually describes Lord's activities. So only an expert retired from material activities deserves to understand this spiritual knowledge. Therefore, you should explain it to the common people through your descriptions of the Lord's activities. So Vyasadeva, Narada Muni, telling Vyasadeva, you have to actually liberate people, and for that, you have to describe the Lord's activities. And he's clarifying about the 3 types of bhaktis. which is illustrated in this verse as well. So this is a point, dear devotees. Hope you all understood. Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripasindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for this excellent class and recapping all the various verses 13, 14, 15, and 16. Mataji, I just missed out on the Guna Bahava Bhakti. That is again adulterated bhakti with either Karma Yoga Jnana, and Karma Yoga Jnana is the predominant one, but it has still got a bhakti component, and this will lead to liberation.
Secondary. Bhakti component is secondary, and this will lead to liberation. Yes.
So what does liberation mean then?
Brahman, I mean...
so it is Brahman realization.
Brahman realization. That is liberation.
You still come back into, that is the effulgence, and you still have to come back and then again do your sadhana and then go to Golok Vrindavan.
Mataji, the point is, there'll be a lot of, I think, different opinions with regards to this in terms of people coming back from Brahman. Actually, they don't fall back from Brahman. I mean, there are so many, I've listened and heard many quotations from our literatures to prove the fact that people don't come from Brahman. But the point is, Mataji, we need to understand Brahman is not our goal because we don't have service. The mood of a devotee is that he wants to perform service to the Lord. And when the aspect of service is not there, then that is considered selfish. We are going there because we want to get rid of our miseries. Yes, no suffering. I just want to be peaceful, calm, no relationships, nothing, but I just want to be calm and peacefully be situated without any kind of suffering. That is why it is considered a selfish motive, and they are staying there, and it's considered selfish because they are not able to perform the service to this Lord. And for devotees, even if it is hell, a devotee is ready to go to hell if there is an aspect of service. So that's our mood. We don't care where we go, but the point is we need to have service happening somewhere. If Lord wants me to go there, then I'm ready to go to even hell, no problem. But I need to serve you, Lord. This is the mood of a devotee.
Thank you very much for that explanation, Mataji. Sorry to have taken you back. Are there any other questions or comments? I know we have passed our hour, and I apologize, Mataji, because everybody's gone for the Rath Yatra, but we were instructed, no, you have to continue with the class. I thought we could cancel it, but they said there'll be devotees who are still going to be here. Even if there are 2 devotees, the class will go on.
Oh, so wow.
We are just following the instructions of our mentors.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Hare Krishna. I think Shobha Mataji might have a question. Mataji, you're unmute.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yes, thank you very much for a very uplifting class for me, especially because I think I went through past 2 weeks when I was constantly surrounded by non-devotees, and because my family is not fully Krishna conscious, so I was feeling like I had guests and wedding, and I was constantly engaged with like more of material engagement than with Krishna. So I felt a bit, I feel sometimes that my devotion is like a roller coaster, and I feel bad about it. So I think what you said is like, if we have pure bhakti for Krishna, then we can carry on. So you have really given me the strength back, and thank you, Mataji. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for your encouragement and inspiration, Mataji. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. We are all like a family trying to help each other and get inspiration from each other. And no matter what, Mataji, think always about Krishna. He's there in our heart. And each and every interaction that we have, even with the material people that we normally face, we have to take it. If we face some troubles, that may be for our improvement. We have to always take it look upon us and not look upon others and find fault with others. Others, Krishna will take care of. That is their worry. Krishna and them, they will take care of that. We just have to worry, oh, what is Krishna trying to teach me in this? If I'm put through a situation where I'm associating with materialistic people, maybe I should learn how to not be like them. That may be a teaching for me. Maybe that's what I need to do. How can I constantly think about Krishna, glorify Krishna? When will I get that opportunity to glorify Krishna? You're eagerly waiting, isn't it? That eagerness is what Krishna says. In that ambience, you're eagerly waiting. Yes, when will I get an opportunity to go back to Kenya and start being with the association of devotees in ISKCON Eldoret? This is what a devotee hankers for, and that mood is what he's expecting out of that situation. Given a chance, you will run and go. And this is what Krishna wants. So he actually looks, how are we reacting? What is that I'm learning from these experiences? How to not be like them? Then when will I go back to Krishna and start being in the association of devotees? This is what Krishna wants from you, and you are exactly doing that. So absolutely, you're going in the right track, Mataji. We should always be in the association of devotees who have that enthusiasm and rigor to go back to Krishna. Only then we can succeed. So we just have to tightly hold on to those people who are having that kind of, no matter what, do service to impress them, do whatever it needs to, we have that kind of relationship with them. This is what is the secret to go back to Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. That's a wonderful advice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for being our anchor. And so we can hold on to you and then increase our rasa for understanding the Srimad-Bhagavatam. Are there any other questions or comments? So should we end the session? Okay, there are no more questions or comments, Mataji, but it was an excellent class, and I'm sure devotees are waiting to hear the recording. So even if there are 5 or 6 devotees on the call, there'll be 50 more waiting to listen to this. So thank you for every Saturday coming, and this relationship of ours has been a long time now. I've forgotten whether it's 1.5 or maybe 2 years now. So thank you for giving all the nectar and your understanding, and you say it in such a simple form that we understand it, and we love your recap. So it puts everything in perspective. So thank you very much, Mataji. And we can chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra once to glorify. Kindly unmute everybody so we can chant. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Hare
Hare Hare.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Patruvyasya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Radhika Kasturi Mataji ki Jai.
All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Nice class. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.